Hello everyone, I'm Yvonne, a children's librarian here at the Manchester City Library, and welcome to our winter steam-powered stories. These are story times that are aimed at grades 3 to 6 and have a science, technology, engineering, art, or math component. For copyright reasons, our stories are only going to be read in person at the library, so please visit our website to register if you would like to join us. In-person attendance is also going to guarantee that you get a kit to create our craft with. But I also thought that we could continue posting some of our crafts and activities here so we can share it with as many people as possible. So let's get into this week's steam-powered story. Hello everybody and welcome back to Steam Powered Stories, Winter Edition. And actually this week we are going to be celebrating the beginning of winter. So we are welcoming winter this and today, the day this video will go up, is actually the very first day of winter, also the winter solstice, which means that today is the shortest day and the longest night of the year. So if you want to get into the wintry mood, there are definitely quite a few fun books here at the Manchester City Library that you can check out and read. And we are also going to do some fun activities here that kind of celebrate the beginning of winter. I do want to remind everybody that we do have a winter reading program this year at the Manchester City Library. So if you want to go onto our website and sign up through Read Squared, or to come into the library and sign up here, if you guys are going to read anyway, you might as well record those minutes and get prizes. It is very similar to summer reading if you did summer reading with us last year, and I hope that a lot of you guys will come and join us for winter reading. But let's now get into our winter activities. Alright guys, I thought we'd start off pretty simple. So first off, we're going to do a quick tutorial on how to make a snowflake. Okay, so you can start out with just a regular piece of paper. This is a piece of printer paper. And what we're going to do first is we're going to make this into a square. And how we're going to do that without any actual measuring is we're going to fold it like this so that the edges line up and we get a point at this other corner here. All right, and then we are going to use the edge of this triangle that we've made to cut off the extra of our rectangle sheet of paper. Okay, so this has made a square. But the first fold of making a snowflake is actually to fold this in half. So even if we started with a square, this is going to be our fold. Then you're going to fold this triangle in half, like this. Okay. And now this is the tricky part. We're going to fold this triangle into thirds. And that's a little bit of a guesswork. So I put one finger down here in this corner so it doesn't get away from me. And just sort of eyeball it a little bit. And then we can try folding this without creasing it too much, just to kind of make sure we get that fold right. It doesn't have to be perfect, but the closer the folds are to each other, the easier it's going to be to get an even pattern around when we're done. Okay, so that is folded in thirds, and then we're actually going to go ahead and cut off along this line these extra frilly bits. So we've got this triangle, And now we can start cutting our design. So what I normally do is I choose one of these corners to be like the large spike in the snowflake, and I cut from sort of that and down. And that gives me kind of like the basic outline of the snowflake. And this is when you can cut in your designs from the side. There are little outlines online if you want to get a specific shape, but I'm just going to freehand mine. Here is my snowflake, and I'm going to unfold it. And here is my snowflake, and it's got the 6 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like a snowflake usually has. Okay, and you can just repeat that process as many times as you want to get as many snowflake decorations as you want to put. Next activity is to make a thermometer. This is going to be an interesting one, I think. We've got quite a few supplies here. I've got a clear water bottle. I actually wanted to try something with something a little smaller because then I would have to use less rubbing alcohol. But this is what I had. We also have a clear straw. I've got some Play-Doh. I've got some food coloring. I've also got an eyedropper and a Sharpie to put our marks on for our thermometer. Okay, so I'm going to start by taking some of my rubbing alcohol and I'm going to put it into this. If you guys are unsure about pouring this in, you can use a funnel or ask an adult or an older kid to help you. I need to make sure that's open first. Okay, I do have my surface covered just in case I spill, so I'm just going to go ahead. All right, I'm just going to check to make sure that's enough. When I put my clear straw into my bottle, I want it to go into the liquid, but also be able to stick up enough that I can see it and we'll have room for the liquid to be able to move up and down while we can see it. Okay, so I think that is the right amount. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and add some food coloring. And this is for a couple reasons. One, to warn people that this is not water and they should not drink it. And two, so that when it goes up the straw, we'll be able to read the temperature easier. So I'm going to go ahead and do red because that's what I normally see thermometers. All right, and then what I'm going to do is I am actually going to pour just a tiny bit out into my extra cup because we're going to need that later. We're going to come back to it. Not very much, just a little bit. All right, now what I'm going to do is get our Play-Doh ready. You can also use like clay or just anything else that's going to give like an airtight seal around the top of our bottle. So I'm going to take our straw and have it so that it goes down into the liquid. And then I'm going to seal the top around the straw with the Play-Doh. Now we're going to take the liquid we set aside, and I'm going to use the eyedropper, and I'm going to pour it down the straw. And what we're doing here is we're actually checking to see if we have a seal around the top. Because if the top is sealed well, then when you put liquid into the straw, it'll actually stay in the straw rather than falling down into the rest of the liquid in the jar. Now I've got my homemade thermometer. Now because my container is a little bit tall, I am a little bit limited to how far up I can put my liquid. Ideally, I would have liked to have more straw up this way, and that way we could just mark on the outside where the liquid got to, where it started from, and then how far it rose or lowered. So with this one, we're just going to have to eyeball it a little bit. So if you guys can see in here where the liquid level is, I do have a bowl of cold water that I just got out of the fridge. So I'm going to set this, our thermometer, in the bowl of water, and we're going to see if we can see any change. Whoop. Okay, we got some initial change, I think, just from the pressure of the water, but now we're going to wait and see if this lowers any. Okay, so I think that we have seen some lowering of the liquid inside of our straw. So I think that has shown that the temperature has lowered a bit. Now I've got some warm water that I'm going to put in this container. Okay, and let's switch it over and see what happens. Okay, wow, that went up really fast. I don't know if you guys saw all the way, but oh, yep, it's spilling over a bit. Quick, let's cool it down a little. All right, and that's what you call breaking the thermometer. So normally, of course, thermometers are enclosed, so it's a lot harder to spill like that. But that does show how the difference can really be seen. So we have seen that the thermometer does work, but you guys might be wondering, how does it work? And basically, our thermometer works on a principle of what we call thermal expansion and contraction. And what happens basically is in anything, in the air, in liquid, even in solids, molecules will vibrate more when they are warmer, which means that they actually tend to expand because they're just like vibrating and very active, as opposed to in cold temperatures where they sort of vibrate less and they kind of end up getting a little bit closer together and vibrating in less space. So this actually happens more in gases, but for us that's not very helpful because we can't see most gases, and it's very hard and sometimes dangerous to work with the ones that you can see. Liquids also expand and contract, which is why we have chosen to use liquids in our thermometer here. So we did choose rubbing alcohol, which does respond pretty well. Originally, thermometers were made out of mercury, which also responds well, but is actually poisonous. So everyone basically decided to stop making thermometers out of mercury, which was a good call. If we were going to make our own that was more useful, we would do something called calibrating it, which is where we would put a mark on the straw at a certain temperature. So it's a little bit like setting a clock, where you kind of need another clock to be able to set it correctly. So if we were going to calibrate our homemade thermometer, we would probably want another thermometer that we were pretty confident in. And then whenever the other thermometer said, hey, it's now like 100 degrees, or hey, it's now 30 degrees, or whatever, we would then put a mark on our thermometer to note that it was 30 degrees. And then hopefully that would all match up the next time it was 30 degrees. But I'm going to leave our experiment here because I just wanted mine to show the basics of how a thermometer works. And I'm pretty happy that it did do that. And I'm not going to get fancier, but you guys feel free to go ahead and do as much as you'd like. Welcome to the craft for this week's steam-powered stories. If you came to our in-person steam-powered story this week, then you will have gotten a craft kit with all of these and the instructions in it. If you were not able to make it to this week's in-person program, then you can stop by the entryway to the children's area of the Manchester City Library and pick up a kit for as long as we have those left over. So this week's craft, you have a small cup, you have 3 tablespoons of borax powder, and you have a pipe cleaner. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to get some water and to heat it up in a heat-safe container. I had a glass container that I put in the microwave. Remember, it's okay to ask for help if you're not sure. This can get pretty hot. And I just filled up this almost to the top with water, dumped it into my heat-safe container, and heated that up. Now I'm going to go ahead and pour the warm water back into my cup. And then go ahead and pour in my borax powder. And then I'm going to use a spoon. I'm just going to pour it in a little bit at a time and stir it until it's all dissolved. Okay, so then I'm going to put this aside for a moment. It's okay that it's still cloudy as long as most of it has dissolved. And then we're going to take our pipe cleaner, and you can fold this into any shape that you would like. I kind of like making a little tree out of it. Okay, so here's my little spiral tree. I do want to make sure that it's going to be able to sit inside the liquid. We want it to all be covered because no matter what you make, when we put it inside the liquid, we are hoping to grow some crystals onto our pipe cleaner. Because what we've done by putting in the warm water and then dissolving a lot of the borax in it is that we've made a super saturated solution. And that means that the warm water can actually hold more of the dissolved borax powder than the cold water can hold. And so if we put our tree or our star or whatever shape you've decided to make into our solution, as it cools, the borax crystals are going to start to pull together and drop out of the water solution and hopefully attach themselves to our pipe cleaner, because the pipe cleaner is unusual and is disrupting the flow of liquid around it. So that will cause the crystals to kind of catch on to it. Okay, so now that we've got that in our solution, we're going to want to put it away in a safe place, because the less that this gets bumped, the better our crystals are going to be. Also, we want to make sure that everyone in our household knows that we should, where it is, and not to drink it, because borax powder definitely should never, ever, ever be eaten or drink. Okay, so we're going to put that away in a safe place. And we're going to let that sit for at least 24 hours, which is one full day, but possibly 2 days, just to make sure. And I'm going to show you guys. So this is a tree that I made beforehand, and I did let this sit in my borax solution for about 2 days, and it's all full of beautiful crystals. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoy making that craft, and you make some really cool things to decorate for the winter. All right, everyone, I wanted to thank you for joining me today and welcoming winter in our steam-powered stories, craft, and activities. Remember, if you guys do enjoy steam-powered stories, you can sign up to come in person to our next session, which will be in 2 weeks on January 4th. There'll be a little sneak preview on what we might be talking about in that steam-powered story at the end of this presentation. I also want to remind you guys again that we do have our winter reading program here at the Manchester City Library, and you can sign up for that by going onto our website and signing up through Read Squared, or by stopping in at the library and filling out your information so we can sign you up. We've got some really cool activities and prizes if you want to participate. Remember, if you are reading books, then you might as well get those minutes and get prizes for them. All right. Thanks again for being here. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you learned a little bit of science to keep you entertained this winter. All right, guys. See ya. Bye.